Good evening, everyone. You're watching Social Chatter, your weekly social media marketing talk show. My name is Christian Karasevich, CEO and founder of socialchefs.com. And tonight on episode 145 of Social Chatter, we have a lot of really great topics that we want to discuss with you this week in social media. We have lots of topics this week from YouTube in particular, as well as more updates from Instagram, as if last week wasn't enough, and also some news from Facebook. But first, I want to welcome on my co-host, Phil Gerbershak. Phil has been with us for, I think, a few months now, actually. I'm going to have him do the counting on that to make sure my numbers are right. But we're going to bring Phil on, and then we're going to bring on our guest. And our guest is Ross Brand, a fantastic individual. I know Ross. I've known him for quite some time, actually. He got into live streaming back when live streaming was just getting started. He's a live streaming professional. He's got a new podcast. It's called Brand on Broadcasting. I'm going to drop a link to that here in the comments. But fantastic individual as well. But let's go ahead and bring on Phil, and then we'll bring on Ross.
What's up, hey there, Christian? Good, brother. How you doing? Yeah,
doing
good.
Great.
Good. Yeah, I'm excited, man. Ross is great. He's also the host of Best of Be Live with Rachel Moore. We had Rachel on a little while ago. I've been doing this with you, I want to say 3 months now. It feels like a long time, but not that long, meaning it feels like we've been together forever, man, kind of like the Beatles, but what the heck, who knows, right? So it's been fun, bro. I'm excited, though, because Ross is brilliant. He's got a lot of great energy, a lot of great stuff. And we're going to learn a ton from Ross. And that Ross on broadcast or Brand on Broadcasting, I just subscribed. I can't wait to listen to the first episode with Brian Kramer talking about something we're going to talk about tonight, Instagram TV. So what's up, Ross?
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for having me on. And thanks for that wonderful introduction. It's exciting. A lot's going on in the world of video and social media.
Oh, it's crazy how much video is changing. I mean, it's like 1 week, 1 week you think like, oh, Instagram has the thunder with IGTV last week. And then this week, like YouTube, rolled out some really major updates as well. It's like they just stole that crown back. So it's, it's a very, or maybe they didn't steal it, but some really, really, really good updates. So
it's the video wars are on.
Hopefully we're the winners and not just the platforms being the winners, though. I mean, that's the big question, right? I mean, how are we going to leverage all this good stuff for business? And hopefully, we'll dig into that tonight, Ross, because we know you've got lots of strong opinions, man, and we look forward to you bringing it tonight.
Hey, thanks. Looking forward to it.
So I want to thank everybody who's watching at home. If you're watching the replay of this, thank you again for tuning in. If you're currently watching with us, please do us a favor, hit that share button. Let's bring in some more viewers, have a really thoughtful discussion around these topics, because I think there's a lot of very applicable news this week for businesses in the land of social media. Again, this show is actually aimed at helping businesses learn about these new features and use them. But Phil, where do you want to start this week? By the way, we have some great topics, but where do you want to go first?
Well, you teased us with YouTube, buddy. We got to start with YouTube. They're offering some great stuff now, really interesting stuff for creators, creatives, and for those who are doing a little more with YouTube, not just, throwing up a couple of videos. Because like you said, man, I was like, wow, YouTube, they're going to be left in the dust. But I don't know. This new change is pretty big. So, Christian, you want to pop the link there? And Ross, what are you thinking, man? You think YouTube now is back in the race, surpassed Facebook? What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, YouTube's been the king of uploaded videos, certainly, and it's got a strong group of people who like using it for live as well, and a lot of their big channels. Here's what happens. Instagram comes out with Instagram TV. Facebook, of course, and Instagram are essentially the same company. So this is a move by Facebook as well as by Instagram to find a hub for vertical video. And Facebook was, trying to kind of make itself into a YouTube with some of the different video features it had. And none of that really got the kind of traction other than people liking to do Facebook Lives. But as far as being having sort of the channel focus, I don't think Facebook ever really had that. It's not where you go to look at somebody's archive of work or, go searching for videos on how to do this or how to do that, right? So now with Instagram, they've established the channel idea that's very much like what YouTube has. But what's interesting is YouTube comes back within 24 hours, I believe, or slightly more than that. But it was like the next calendar day. I was looking up some information on IGTV, and next thing I know, YouTube's got this announcement of three major new features. But like everything that YouTube seems to roll out, this is very much favoring the big creators, the big channels. So as somebody with, a couple hundred subscribers on YouTube and who doesn't spend a ton of time on the platform, there's really not a lot I can do with what the new features are. Whereas Instagram TV, I'm super excited about because it's a level playing field. Of course, it helps if you have more social subscribers across the board and a big email list. But in terms of what the platform is and what it's going to become, we all can play sort of a role in shaping that, right? There isn't a certain type of video yet that we know this is what works or this is what people expect, as there are certain styles that seem to work and what people are looking for on YouTube. So I guess that's my overview of it. I mean, I think it's exciting features for those who can monetize their YouTube channel and who have the community features. And, if you look at the different features, everything's either 10K subscribers or 100K subscribers. There's really not a lot for the small channels. For
That's
YouTube,
interesting.
For YouTube's updates, I'm talking about.
Right. No, that's interesting. So Christian, we're not going to be selling Social Chefs hats and T-shirts on YouTube now. What's going on,
got a ways to go. Got quite a ways to go. I will say I think those are some excellent points, by the way, Ross. About how like Instagram is tapping into the the vertical video side. They're doing some things that I think are like you said, they're really good actually for the for the new creator, basically having that level playing field. That's a really good point because a lot of people, they think YouTube, hey, it's been around. People are going to have built a huge audience at some point, or at least by now. So by adding, for instance, these new features, and these new features, by the way, include channel memberships for you to be able to, charge somebody a fee of $5 to get, unique badging, emojis, members only post in the community tab. That's a very that on the surface seems like a fantastic answer to YouTube's changes they made months ago about monetization. But it doesn't really, like you said, it doesn't really help everyone who has a channel. It's quite a high bar, I think, to have to get to. Phil, what do you think, by the way, about these updates?
Well, Ross nailed it there when he said, this is for creators. This is for the professionals, right? So if you're a business owner and you're thinking, oh, wow, this is really cool, YouTube is still saying, we're trying to be an entertainment platform, which is fascinating to me because I would think, Facebook is all about the, kind of more entertainment value than YouTube. I mean, little kids spend all day flipping on YouTube. So now I'm thinking, to Ross's point, Instagram TV, vertical video, I can totally see there being a nice app for smart TVs so that I can watch some Instagram TV. But I got to tell you, though, it's still going to be weird to rotate my television so that it's up and down. I don't know if that's going to work or what, right? I'm not sure.
That's a really good point, actually. I mean, that's a great point. I actually didn't think about that part. And I think that, that's another challenge. I mean, and I don't see Facebook being a hardware company. Do you guys see that? I mean, I know you can get a monitor and rotate it, but I mean, way.
Yeah, I mean, is it going to be that you have some type of device on behind your TV and in your remote, you hit the vertical button and all of a sudden you hear it it's like the dome closing at a sporting event when it starts.
The hydraulics, yeah.
Somebody's gone vertical. Hit that vertical button so we can watch this.
I don't know. I mean,
they're saying we know most people have the smartphone with them all the time, and this is how they consume social video. And so we'll go after them, and YouTube can continue to put out horizontal videos for the time being, right? Until they maybe have to adapt as well. I mean, whether we like vertical or not really isn't the issue, right? I mean,
Right.
The smartphone is here. It's the number one way people are interacting with one another. And so why not be doing video in that way? And why not? I mean, everything's time, right? I mean, it's so simple to just, turn your phone horizontal, but that isn't the world we live in, right? We live in a world where, like, if a page doesn't download from the internet in 2 seconds, we're like, what am I doing? What am I doing? It used to be like you would load up a page and it's like, oh, let me get myself something to eat and I'll come back and maybe the whole page will have downloaded and I can start reading.
And by the way, it reminds me also of what happened years ago. When people would shoot video on their phone, and everybody always gave them grief because, hey, you were shooting it in the wrong mode. You were shooting it in vertical versus horizontal. Like, now we're going backwards, which is kind of interesting. I think that overall, this is here's the thing. The bottom line, I love what YouTube is doing here with channel memberships. The ability to have merchandising on your YouTube channel, again, and this feature also called Premieres that they're rolling out, which basically is let me pull this back up for everybody, feature called Premieres, which basically is a way for you to pre-record video and share it as if it was like live. I love the ideas of these, but I think that they need to lower that bar to get people to start to use them. I don't really think the big creators on YouTube, with those huge subscription numbers, I don't really watch much of their content, honestly.
Well, we don't, right? There's no business application, but are we really the right consumer? I would argue, that there's little business applicability unless your business is video. In which case, it's something to be aware of. But yeah, I don't know many hardware stores that have a 10,000 subscriber YouTube channel for here's how you can drill a hole that's 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. I mean, that's not exciting stuff. So I think I'm hopeful that some of the features spill over. Because the easier that YouTube makes it, the easier that we all can use it, which will keep us on the platform. I think that's YouTube's real play. But they're not rolling this out for us three, right? They're not rolling this out for our audience. They're really rolling this out for, for the PewDiePies and those that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers in hopes of keeping them there instead of running away to Instagram.
Yeah. Phil, you're 100% right, Phil. I mean, that is exactly it. They don't want people with 1 million subscribers or 100,000 subscribers, or even the people with 10,000 subscribers to go, ooh, Instagram's where everybody's hanging out anyway. Let me start a channel there and put all my focus. No, they want to keep those people there on YouTube by giving them away right now additional ways to monetize and engage with their community. And you mentioned the premieres. Facebook actually announced this feature about a month or two ago, and I haven't seen anything about it since. But basically, the idea is you can take a pre-recorded video and provide your audience with the live experience where you say, I'm releasing it for the first time at a certain specific time, and everybody show up and we'll chat about it, and you can be live in the chat, and there's conversation, and you can build anticipation. And obviously for some of these big channels, that's huge. I mean, people wait breathlessly for when somebody's going to drop the next video of their cat doing something or whatever, if they're big enough channel and they do enough stupid stuff, I guess, or whatever. But, it also does encourage creating shows and episodes, just like, people watch TV and they chat on their phone. Maybe that's what, that's kind of what they're going for. People will watch YouTube shows that are pre-recorded and chat with one another right on YouTube while they're using it.
But how do you do that on your phone, man? I mean, that's the challenge, right? You can't multitask. YouTube, unless you go red, doesn't let you scroll off a video. I mean, I was trying to watch one of my friend's videos today, and and of course, after 5 minutes, the screensaver kicks in on my phone. So in which case I stop watching the video. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I'm not paying $5 for permission to watch this stinking video. I mean, that's idiotic. So not to mention, to your point, Ross, I'm curious how they make those streams work if the phone really is like the first screen. I don't, is it click a button and it'll stay so that I can chat with my friends? Or is it, video and video so that I can do a video cast with my friends? I'm curious.
Oh, they want you chatting right in that YouTube chat. They don't want you going to another site, a second screen. They want you right in that live chat that you can chat in when somebody's live streaming. This is going to give you that same opportunity. And I assume, but I don't know for sure that they'll have what do you call it, where you can make donations, super chat. I'm sure they'll have ways to take donations and things like that as well.
Yeah. So this is gonna be like, like a lot of people are trying to do with like a Patreon, right? I mean, that's the interesting thing is we'll see. And if they frame it in and they keep it there, now you've got an opportunity there to take cash right there, throw tips. But are they going to do it? Are they going to do it like Chatterbait, right? Where we're going to see naked people playing on YouTube? Because right now there's nothing really, that's the question, because that's Patreon built its back on that. They've got a lot of the creators there that are doing, the heavy R to X-rated stuff. We'll see what YouTube does. Maybe YouTube buys Patreon because they've got a big community. They've got a couple 100,000 subscribers there, maybe 1 million even at Patreon. I don't have the numbers, but it's interesting. We'll see what happens.
And I think, by the way, I think those are really good points. I think part of me, playing off of last week's update about IGTV or the launch of IGTV, playing off of that and then seeing what YouTube came out with, I was partly expecting YouTube to kind of push things forward for everyone. I think that, this is a very useful feature. But again, I mean, for me, I want to see them, roll this out for every user to be able to have some monetization. I know we probably didn't expect that because of all the changes that YouTube has been making to really raise that bar. But I like the features, honestly. I love the ability to be able to say, hey, here's a membership. I like the merchandising piece. I mean, they tied in with like Teespring to be able to do that. So I think it makes a lot of sense. I just, I'm looking for it to say, hey, you know what? They need to really tap into all the other users as well, because like you all mentioned, I think they're going to defect and they're going to go over to Instagram and start, pushing their content there because, hey, YouTube's not meeting all the needs of the users. But that's my take on it.
Yeah, love the features. Just wish I could have access to them.
That's it. There you go.
That's as honest as I can be about it.
That's good points, Ross. Good points.
So I think we've covered YouTube enough. Do you want to move on to Instagram or Facebook? Where do you want to go next, Phil?
Yeah, let's go to Instagram. Let's to Instagram, right? We were talking about that before. Let's move over to Instagram because some of this news, I mean, this is important stuff, right? People need to understand what the heck is going on with these. And this is fascinating to me, this ability to video chat inside of a private Instagram message, which now I really think that's the video and video, right? I'm watching Brandon broadcasting in one screen, and then Christian and I are talking about how cute Ross looks in the other screen. I mean, that's really going to be interesting to see how that works. I don't know. What do you think, Christian? You gonna play with that?
I like the fact that Instagram is adding adding video chat to direct. I think that, personally, I think that Messenger and, Instagram direct, I think that's kind of the direction everything's trending, to like less about posting in a feed and more about having more private conversations with people. I think from a business purpose, I think that video chat in Instagram direct could be very useful. I think a business could, if they wanted to, they could maybe, I also see a membership side of this at some point. That's basically what I'm getting at. I think that, maybe at some point Instagram will launch the ability to let you charge people for video chat, to have like, to be able to say, hey, let me do a private coaching session or something like that. In this case, you can work with 4 people in video chat. That's kind of the direction I see this possibly going, just kind of thinking ahead here. But I think this would be a feature I'd test out. I mean, if I'm a business, I might want to chat with my customers this way. This way I don't have to, like, I can keep everything. For instance, if Instagram's the channel I'm building, I can stay within Instagram. That's what I see happening here.
Wow. What do you think, Ross? You gonna play with this? You see a business application for this?
Not right now for me. There's a lot of times these platforms add a feature and you go, why do I need that? Right. Or there's another way to accomplish that. There's Skype, there's Zoom, there's, any number of appear in different places where you can have a multi-person video chat. So I'm thinking, why do I really need this? But if the whole world's going to be on Facebook and Instagram, and that's what they're planning for, right?
Yeah.
Why? I think much like what YouTube's doing with, not letting you multitask, but making you keep that video up there and chat within the video framework, right? This is about you not leaving the platform. The only difference is their Instagram, which seems to be smarter about these things right now, realizes that we're in a multitasking generation, right? In that time frame. And so the idea that you can chat and also search their feed and post and do other things is what people want, right? I mean, what they want to do, what these platforms want is they want to be the internet for you. They want to be the place where you do everything. You socially connect, you do business. So yeah, the applications for it are coming. Now, for me, I would have loved to see them take that bandwidth and put it towards maybe 4 people on an Instagram live, or, putting IGTV live or something like that, which they don't have live yet, and allowing multiple people. I mean, that's a heck of a lot of bandwidth to, that's an expensive proposition, right? Once people start using this feature, this is going to be massive, the amount of people using it.
Interesting.
But I think I think they have a better sense of where things are going than a lot of platforms, Instagram. And if they're, when they released messaging, I was like, why do I need that? I can message people on Messenger. I can I can text, I can email, right? Now Instagram is one of the primary places for getting a hold of friends and communicating and stuff like that. So this seems like it's the next logical step is to now be calling. I mean, I never thought I would be, hey, I got a call from I got a call on Instagram, right?
Right.
That's coming. That's that may be more normal than getting a phone call or getting a call on Facebook Messenger at some point.
Hey, Ross, my shoe just called. I think it's looking for you. Can you take the call?
By the way,
I think the shoe just dropped.
It did. And Christian's going to drop it and smack me in the head with it. Go ahead, Christian.
I was going to say, by the way, the one thing that we're not mentioning here, with all of this is it's a big request on the part of Facebook and Instagram to provide the support to have, video chat and whatnot. But the user, for instance, I'm not seeing data limits increase. Users are still tied into that, very limited plan. Everything is moving towards video. To me, that's the next thing I need to see. They need to maybe work with the telcos companies, to get all of this changed, to increase those bandwidths, because, video takes a lot of that bandwidth that you have as a user.
Google Wireless, baby, everywhere. Google is coming. You're going to see. I bet you I'm going to make a bold prediction here and say that I bet Facebook buys a telco or a fiber provider that gives us access everywhere so they can get all that ad data when you're on their network. Because people are concerned about privacy of the app. You really want to freak people out? Recognize that now if you're on my network, I can track everything you do, much like any public wireless does. That's how they block you from going to porn sites at the airport, right? I mean, this stuff happens. So I'm going to bet that Facebook there in the next 18 months buys one of these big telcos or some fiber play so that they can continue to go head to head, because if they can push that down the pipe, they can push Facebook Watch, they can push IGTV, they can push more subscriptions, they can push more ads at us and lock us in even harder.
And that actually makes a lot of sense, by the way, if you really think about it. I mean, you think about like your AT&Ts, for instance, that own DirecTV, or they own DirecTV, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So they own DirecTV. They're looking into, getting into kind of doing a lot of that already, or trying to do a lot of that, because they're like, hey, we got to, we have to evolve. But Facebook essentially has already done all that without actually being on the flip side of it, which is, having a phone, for instance, and being their one, monetization channel. Yeah. So very interesting. But yeah, we've got video chat, Instagram Direct. You can use up to 4. You can chat with 4 people at one time for that. I think it'll be again. I mean, it's adding a lot of the features that may already be there in Messenger. But you have to remember, and I think this is the fascinating part. Facebook has barely touched Instagram, just over the last few years. They haven't done really much. And now they're starting to make that shift. And don't forget, they still have WhatsApp, which I think also, is we're going to see a lot of the same thing, but I think we'll start to move towards that direction at some point. It's almost more like whenever Facebook decides they want to unlock those features, I think.
Yeah, good stuff.
So, Ross, anything else you want to add on this? By the way, we've got video chat, we've got the topic channels on Explore for Instagram, and we also have those new camera effects. Any of those you want to touch on?
Just to kind of wrap it up for me on this issue, I mean, these are major steps forward in a very short time frame. I mean, Instagram, obviously this stuff doesn't come together overnight, right? So Instagram must have been sitting on this for a little while and going, okay, we're going to hit them with a new TV channel. We're going to hit them with video dialing the next week. We're going to add filters. We're going to add, video effects. We're going to add all sorts of different things. And wow, I mean, the platform was already becoming I don't know. Would you say that Instagram, I mean, other than Facebook, Instagram's really got probably the second platform now where people go after, I mean, a lot still happens on Twitter, but so much of Twitter now is automated, and it's, really there's a lack of engagement on a lot of levels on Twitter. I mean, I think Instagram is sort of the number 2 and close to the number 1, and both of them are owned by the same company. And this is just that Facebook saying, we've got this super valuable property that we didn't pay a ton for, and it's worth, what is it worth? 100 times what they paid for it, or whatever. No. Would they pay $1 billion or 10? They paid $10 billion for it, maybe.
Not enough.
Yeah, and so, wow. I mean, they're just ramping it up in a major way, and I think it's exciting to see what comes next.
Yeah. Definitely. By the way, one other thing that I thought that was really interesting, it doesn't seem like, it's a big thing, but I was looking at the camera effects that they have, and it seems like, it doesn't seem that important, but they're working on camera effects, for instance, with Ariana Grande, BuzzFeed, Baby Ariel, not sure who that is, and NBA in the Instagram camera. But I like the fact that they're starting to build those partnerships as well with, a lot of these personalities and these major brands. I mean, that to me almost is like the next step of being able to say, instead of having let me charge a membership because, hey, they're not charging a membership, it seems. Maybe they could, roll out some, things that people can purchase, like different camera effects. For instance, like in this case, if you're following somebody, you'll get those camera effects. But I almost see that as the next iteration, seeing how they're building all these personalities. Essentially, they could have their own custom camera effects.
Sure. Well, I definitely see as it becomes more and more location aware, the NBA having a filter and having camera effects at every game. Think about the ability for a kiss cam at the NBA game. Think about having that at your grocery store for when you're in the produce aisle, that you're scanning stuff and now all the coupons come up because it's targeting you. I think you're absolutely right. Absolutely right, Christian. And the fact that this camera effects might seem stupid to a lot of us, but imagine that overlaid with an AR and VR interface. And that's location aware, that isn't just are you following, but it's location aware. Hate to say it, like the platform that I hate talking about, Snapchat. I hate Snapchat. I do. I'm just telling you. I mean, I don't see any use of it at all. But if they do this right, they're gonna just eat it up.
I thought nobody hated Snapchat more than I did.
No, I do. And I don't like any of anybody who was one of the early influencers in Snapchat, they will never be on the show if I'm co-host.
But
be really clear about
it's
that.
Sort of like what they were doing, and this shows how long I've been away from Snapchat, but it's sort of like what they were doing with the geo filters.
Yeah,
right? But taking it,
absolutely.
what you described is taking it to a whole nother level with video and with potentially AR and VR and MR and all the different kinds of things you can do, and integrating it with real-time interaction, with events and brands and stuff versus just, you're in the neighborhood of a store, so you put their filter over your photo or whatever. I mean, this is next level stuff, depending on how this takes off.
Definitely. And I could see this being very useful. Like if for instance, if Instagram decides they want to tap into, all the brick and mortar, stores that are around, like having, lots of camera effects that are available based on like where you're at. I mean, like, I think it would help a business as well to be able to tap into some branding, to encourage almost like those social moments, to capture those. I think that, like almost like having like a station, for instance, within your store, saying, hey, this is the perfect, like I see this a lot here. That's a lot of, like, that's a good, selfie spot, for instance, having something like that in a store, a small thing like to help encourage, customers to talk about your business as well. But I think this could be very useful. As small and unimportant as it seems. So
good observations, man. That's very interesting.
Yep.
So Phil, where do we want? We've covered YouTube, we've covered Instagram. Where do you want to go next?
The other way, man. Let's go old school. Facebook Grow decided now Facebook, they're high tech, and now they're going to launch a print magazine. Are you kidding me? What's next, right? I mean, this is fascinating stuff. Is print dead? Is it not dead? What are they trying to do here? Is this going to be TP for my bunghole, or is this going to be useful stuff? I don't know. Ross, what do you think, man?
I really don't know what to make of it. I read the article that you guys sent me, and I got a good laugh out of the article, but I'm not totally sure exactly what it is. To be honest, I mean, is this a digital magazine? Is it a print magazine? Is it geared to everybody? Is it geared just to business leaders who think that they're cool? What exactly is it, and who is it for, and what does it mean for me? Is kind of the question everybody is asking when they hear about it, and I'm not sure that I've gotten past those questions yet.
Yeah,
so it's
I don't know
very
that Facebook
interesting
has either. Oh, go ahead.
Well, so I was going to say, what's very interesting actually about this whole thing is, it's Facebook Grow magazine. Basically, it's a select magazine that they're going to be rolling out in certain markets. They state, for instance, that they're going to be tapping into like people who are frequent business travelers who don't have the time necessarily to keep up with things. So having like very short form articles, but they're also talking about like trying to make it more, they call it a lifestyle magazine. But it also though touches on like tech trends and things like that, or basically what's trending. So that's one side of it. It is a print magazine, but the other side is they're looking to make it available on their Facebook page as well for Facebook Grow, as well as having a certain blog. So I don't really think they've kind of defined what it is. They say they're not going to monetize it with ads, but right
Facebook
now. Facebook
isn't going to monetize something with ads, right? Come on, that's drunk, dude. Get out of here. Facebook monetizes my mom with ads.
That's like saying they're not going to use our data.
Right, yeah, no kidding, right? And I read Playboy for their articles too. Come on now. This is crap. They're just lying. That's not true. They're gonna pepper it with ads. My curiosity though is, will you be able to walk up to a kiosk at an airport and print on demand your personal copy of Facebook Grow? I think that would be killer. You want to talk about, I get on an airplane, I printed 32 pages of the most recent articles and all my friends because I logged in with my thumbprint into that, and now it unlocks my Facebook. That could be pretty darn cool.
I think it could be very useful. I mean, just having like, I'd love, for instance, to be able to say, hey, you know what? How long is my flight? Because there's apps and stuff out there where you can say my travel time is say 30 minutes. here's the content I want to actually listen to or like watch or whatever I need to catch up on. That would actually be a very useful feature. I'm not sure they know what they want to do here. It seems so counterintuitive to, they took the magazine, they took print out basically with Facebook, but now they're coming back with their own. I'd have to see a copy of this in person, to actually like look through this. I don't know. I mean, if I can get this on a Facebook page and I can see this on a blog, why do I also need a print copy?
Yeah. So, I mean, is everybody a potential publisher on this? Like, is every page going to have the ability, and you can just choose which pages you want to read from? Or is it going to be that they select a certain small number of influencers and people like that, and that's who you have to choose from? But I mean, I do like the idea of you can, with the time, kind of combining what you were both saying, like, okay, I want 30 minutes of articles, right? And like Medium tells you it's a 3-minute read, it's a 5-minute read, whatever, and you just go, okay, I got 5-minute reads. I'm ready for my 25-minute train ride or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious how that happens, but LinkedIn. The UK group in LinkedIn, Jason Miller is doing a print magazine for the sophisticated marketer on LinkedIn. And it is, first of all, it's beautiful. That's important, right? People like the aesthetic. I mean, I kept my copy. I kept it for almost a year. Jason sent me one. It's beautiful, great articles, stuff you can't find anywhere else. I thought that was really nice. So we'll see what happens here. I think, I don't think print is dead. I don't care what anybody says. I don't like reading magazines on my phone or on my iPad, and I definitely don't like reading business books. I mean, heck, I don't even journal anymore. Get this, okay? So I got this in the mail today, right? I got the Seth Godin Focus Journal because I like paper. I mean, we'll see what the heck happens here, but it's interesting. It's interesting, and it could be, if you can roll your own, businesses could really see an opportunity to put their catalog online. Right, this could be another commerce play where, again, then with Instagram Messenger, you can go from the magazine to go buy it with your phone. One swipe of that could be pretty neat.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting play. I mean, to see what direction this goes. I mean, they're working with, it seems like they're working with like H&M. I think H&M, like the designer was in here. There were a few other ones. I think overall, I mean, this is a very, like you said, I like reading print sometimes for things. I do read some things digitally as well. It really depends on, I think, and I think the hardest part is like putting down the phone enough to say, hey, you know what, let me actually read this print magazine. But I think this is interesting. I mean, the first thing that came into mind was like, reading, magazines that are already out there, like Wired or, Entrepreneur, like those, that makes me think like, hey, Facebook might be getting into something like that with a print magazine, but we'll see.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. So let's flip to topic 4, man. Let's go to the last topic here so we can get to tool time. So the fourth one is my favorite one, Christian. Ross, I'm excited about this. We'll finally be able to snooze based on keyword, which is the best thing that's ever going to happen to us with the upcoming election, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we were overwhelmed with political posts, which really don't change anybody's mind. I've managed really not to do politics in the 5 years that I've been on Facebook. I think it's about 5 years. You'd think it'd be more, but I was pretty late to the party. But I, other than doing, I did one show where I discussed an issue, but I was very much like in a balanced back, almost like a C-SPAN, where it's like, thank you, caller, and then the next person says, I'm gonna bomb the world, and the call, an interesting call from Indiana, and now we have a call in Atlanta. So I did the neutral kind of thing, but yeah, I mean, that's great overall. I never really mess with my news feed too much. I don't spend a lot of time in it. I kind of I could be busy all day just with notifications if I really was that dedicated. And I feel terrible that I don't always see what somebody, tags me in or comments on or whatever, because I don't know how you keep up with all the notifications. But I'm not terribly concerned about what comes into my news feed, but I would like to a little less of the politics and a little less of the bickering, which really seems to be more about telling your fellow citizens that you're better than them because you have a different opinion rather than doing anything really constructive to bring people together to maybe change minds and hearts and things like that.
Hey, Ross, you're wrong and you suck, man, because you don't believe me. You don't believe exactly what I believe, man. Come on. I had some wanker do that to me last night on my page. You know what I did? Blocked, delete the comment. I feel so much better.
Right.
Aloha's and goodbye. So this is strong, though. It's also possibly strong for movie trailers, right? For consumers. I mean, this is cool. So if people use Facebook right and they put the word spoiler, and I don't want to see any spoilers, that could be really helpful. Now the challenge is, how long do you have to post about spoiler? I mean, hey, I'm just telling you, guess what? Darth Vader is Luke's father. Okay. I'm just going to say that's a spoiler. So I don't know, Christian, I'm sorry if I offended you with that. I know you've been holding out to watch Star Wars Episode 5, but I'm just saying, man. What do you think, Christian? Is this an important feature?
I think that, like, everybody's talking about, like, you know, the trailers, they're talking about politics. Like, it's funny how, like, Ross, you immediately talked about politics on that. And I knew that, like, that's the one feature where, like, hey, you know what? Everybody wants that keyword snooze tool to be able to hide politics. You know, I think that this could be very useful for, you know, for people helping customize their newsfeed. I personally, I don't have this yet. I checked. I really wish I did. I don't have it yet. But, you know, this could be, like, the interesting thing is that it uses all the keywords in your posts. So, for example, you know, if you put, like, Donald Trump in there, hey, you know, hopefully it will block that. Or you put Trump. You know, it seems to me like, you know, I just have to stuff a whole bunch of keywords in here to block them, to potentially snooze them. You know, Donald Trump, all that sort of stuff. If that's what I want to block, I'd love to be able to have a broader one to be able to say, hey, you know, don't, you know, put in politics. You know, I think that people are going to find a way to get around this because this could, you know, this could still impact a business. For example, if your keywords get put in there, people don't want to see your content. You know, you don't really know what's being snoozed. I'd love to see essentially a report for a page, for instance, if they get blocked, or in this case, snoozed for 30 days. I'd love to see that happen. There's no limit. You know, it doesn't look like there's a limit on the number of keywords, but I think this could be a very useful feature. I mean, it applies to profiles, pages, groups. You get snoozed for 30 days based on the keywords in your post. So I need to test this, but I don't have it yet.
No more Viagra ads, right? No more Bitcoin, no more politics. That's not going to break my heart. I'm going to just say that. I mean, I want a cleaner feed. You know, Anita makes a point there that you can't block a whole country. Haha, right? That's so true. But at the same time, you know, you have people that most of the time they're pretty normal. They post stuff and then sometimes they just go off the frickin' rails. So, you know, when they do, I mean, frankly, I still want to be friends with them. I have, you know, I'm from a little town where not everybody, you know, not everybody's of the same political mindset. So, and that's fine. I love them anyway. I don't always agree with them, but when they go off the rails, I don't need to see that. I mean, that's fine. You can go off the rails and do your own thing. I just don't want to watch it.
Do you guys think? Or go ahead, Ross. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, you know, you guys, I assume you've probably seen it too, Christian. I'm sure Phil's seen it. You've seen the Facebook commercials that they had. Like, it started out being about friends and family and sharing good moments and things like that. And then, you know, that like all these forces sort of descended on Facebook, and now we're cleaning it up to bring it back to what it was again. I think this is a part of giving people control. Facebook can't control what people say. I mean, they can to some extent, but if they want to be in free societies where, you know, there's an open exchange of ideas and they're not, you know, censoring people left and right, the best thing to do is to put the tools in the hands of the user and let people decide, I want this in my experience, or I don't want that in my experience. And I think it can also be good for parents, right? If you don't want your kids getting certain material or being bombarded with certain material, you could sneak in and put a snooze on on their Facebook profile or whatever, and keep them away from things that may be troubling.
Yeah, that's a good point too, right? That's a really good point, Ross. I'm curious if parental controls includes parental blocks, which a lot, prevents that. I mean, that's really interesting. The question is, do we let parents block Legos because they don't want to buy their kids Legos, or do we want to let them block offensive stuff? I mean, because I'm cheap, man. If I had kids, and I don't, so the world is probably a better place because of it. But I would probably, any Christmas presents. If you say presents, I just no kids get presents. That's just how it is. Until you're 30 and can buy your own, no thanks.
I'm wondering with this show, do you guys think that how broad do they need to go with this? Do they need to give you a list of selected topics maybe? Because I know, for instance, in Facebook groups, they have a feature called Facebook group topics where you can add tags essentially to your posts. I'm wondering if maybe this might be, maybe just, an introductory rollout, and then, maybe they'll tap into the keyword topics option.
Well, people that's the thing. Is it better to have the creator self-select, or is it better to let the consumer pick? I think that the real answer is balance. Right. I would say that LinkedIn is trying hard with hashtags. They haven't officially rolled this out yet, but I have it where you can search by a hashtag, which is a topic, and then pin that up. I'd be really curious to see how that ends up working for us. It's we'll see, man.
Definitely. We'll see. We just lost Ross for a second here. We'll have him back in hopefully here shortly.
Yes.
I don't know. I like by the way, a couple things I'm not clear on here. I'm not sure. Is this mobile or desktop? Obviously, from the screenshot, it looks like mobile. But I kind of think that hey, mobile and desktop need the same functionality. They need to let you do that. But by the way, let's bring Ross back in.
Yeah, it's easier though to roll it out on mobile first, I think, Christian, because you have more control of that. The desktop experience. I mean, you've got 5 possible browsers. You've got a lot of variation. Mobile is just a stabler test bed, I think. So
definitely. So anything else you want to cover on this, Ross, by the way, on keyword snooze?
No, I think we hit it from all angles. I just loved what Phil said about LinkedIn's trying, they are really trying to make you use hashtags. I mean, they practically throw them into your post. They put them below, and it's click these hashtags. So something's coming with that. I don't know what exactly it is, but I can search by hashtags, and I do use them in LinkedIn posts, even though for a while that was sort of a no-no to do.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Definitely.
Cool. So, well, Christian, is it time for tool time? Tool time.
It is tool time. It's
time for tool time. Woohoo! So we have 2 tools this week. So, Ross, we're going to give you the brand on broadcasting here, brother, with the IGTV as the first app. Have you used it?
I've used it. I like it. I'm excited by it. I love the idea that it's sort of a new canvas for creators to play on, to create with. And I just look forward to seeing what everybody does with it. I'm excited to see if you guys use it, how you'll use it. Will it be linked? I don't think it's going to be YouTube style exactly. I'm curious to see, will it be more documenting stuff? Will it be more behind the scenes access and things that really work well for vertical video, talking head stuff, all that kind of thing? Will people create? What I'm seeing so far is people are creating mini shows. Here's a 2-minute vlog about my day, or here's 3 tips on how to host the show on Facebook Live or whatever. So I'm curious about, and it's a little different style than what people are doing on YouTube. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I think it's interesting. And like I said earlier, I like the fact that it feels like a much more level playing field than YouTube, where all the features are sort of reside in the hands of 10K plus channels or 100K plus channels. Again, it helps if you have a big Instagram following. It helps if you have a big social following. but it's a little more level playing field. And the one exciting feature I should mention is you used to need 10K followers on Instagram to have swipe up in your stories, where you could link out of Instagram by having people swipe up. It's a two-step process if you don't have that number of followers, because you can swipe up into a video on Instagram TV, on IGTV, and then from there, IGTV lets you link out. So now you're able to link to your website, to a product that you're selling, whatever it is. You can link out of IGTV and you can swipe up from stories within Instagram. So it's basically taking what was a one-step process for the big accounts and giving you an extra step if you want to get people from stories, say, to your website or to another destination outside of the Instagram ecosystem.
Interesting. Huh. Well, Anna Lynn says that a celebrity already filmed a movie for this. I'm curious if we see that, and I guess I'd be curious if it's more episodic or if it's just, kind of random. I would bet that this IGTV, I mean, if you don't produce enough content, it's going to be tough. So I'm curious how business is going to create this, but I do see anybody who's more of a hands-on person, you could absolutely create some episodes. I mean, I could even see tax preparers having, doing 52 little clips that are 3 to 5 minutes on IGTV. So I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, to your point, Ross, I don't know if I'm sure I'll play with it. I mean, that's kind of my thing, is I like to see what's out there. But man, I struggle being consistent. I'm thankful for Christian here to keep me on the straight and narrow every week to make sure that we have a show, because it's tough, man. Life runs you over.
It definitely does. And, I think that's going to be one of the things with IGTV. I mean, the great thing about it is if you're a creator, you basically download the IGTV app and it walks you through everything you need to do. It connects it all over to your Instagram channel. Super easy to use. I think, though, that the key thing is going to be building a strategy. How do I make myself different? For example, how do I get my content that is on, how do I get for instance, like you and I were talking about, how do we take this show and turn that into something for IGTV, for instance? Do we just remix it? Is that what we do? Repurpose it? There's a lot that goes into this. And I think for a business, I think the key thing is going to be to get out there, try it, and kind of see what works. This show, for instance, I've been doing this for 3 years, and every time, we've evolved and we've gotten better at things, improved the process as it's gone along. So, I think the same thing is going to happen with IGTV. By the way, it looks like Anna Lynn said that it was Selena Gomez. That's, I'll have to check that out and see what, I guess, Ross, that didn't elicit any feels there, okay, whatever.
Well, she can't keep her hands to herself, so she had to try it out.
There you go. Yeah. Well, maybe she'll come on our show. Yep.
The one song of hers I know because I saw her do it on Saturday Night Live.
Awesome.
So the second tool, by the way, that we have for the show this week is a tool called Sendible, and you probably have seen us talk a lot about social media management dashboards, and Sendible is also one of those as well. It's a social media management tool, but the key thing here is it's geared towards agencies, and and that's one thing you kind of have to look at, like the type of business you run. For example, if you're a digital agency, we're a digital agency at Social Chefs, you're running a lot of different channels. You need the ability to access those channels and manage them, in a proper way. And while there's other tools, there's tools like Hootsuite, Buffer, those work great for typically the small business owner that's managing just their own channel. But you need something that's probably a little more powerful. Sendible will definitely be one to check out. It doesn't just give you, I've got social media dashboard scheduling. It has social listening, so you can see who's talking about your brand. You've got some fantastic reports. Reporting also is key, obviously, if you're working with clients. But what do you all think about these tools? About these in particular, Ross? Are you using anything particular for all the stuff you're doing?
I'm really not. You and I had kind of walked through once, for a couple months and talked about trying different ones, and I really settled on none of them because I feel mostly for me they would be based on Twitter, and just I don't feel Twitter drives enough traffic.
Right.
Twitter is good for Twitter chats for me because there's real engagement there. It's good for sometimes getting people to come watch a show or something like that. But as far as, click throughs to read articles and go to the website and stuff like that, it just doesn't have that value. And I feel like, on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn, I want to be posting organically on those platforms. Twitter, there's the advantage of scheduling and recycling if you do it, but I just don't know that I see the value in it. And I forget how they worded it, but it was interesting because every platform, every tool like this I've seen always talks about accounts, right? And this one talked about, I forget, was it actions or activities or so? Like if you schedule, that would be one kind of activity, and then instead of like if you get 12, I forget, actions or something like that, it's not accounts. It's like streaming is one kind of action, getting your messages from an account is another kind of action. So you
services, right?
Yeah, services, exactly. So you use those things up quickly. I mean, this is definitely not for the solopreneur, although they do have a plan for it, and maybe it works if you want to focus on one or two platforms, or three, maybe. I just don't know. But look, all these tools are trying to go with the sort of inbox zero idea that Agora Pulse talks about, that they're going to help you clean out your social inbox, help make it faster to get back to people. And that's a useful tool. But for me, I see the value in most of these in Twitter. And again, unless I'm a guest on a Twitter chat in which I use Hootsuite to, load up my tweets ahead of time and then still deliver them at the time I want to deliver them. But if I have some thoughts, I load them up in the deck ahead of time, and I follow people in the deck to spotlight things. Otherwise, I'm just not using these tools. I feel they're the most beneficial for Twitter. And I don't see, if I could see how they were as beneficial for other platforms, then maybe I would.
Right on, Ross. Totally agree.
And the services feature, by the way, is an interesting, it's an interesting concept. For example, posting and streaming to Twitter, to one Twitter handle would count as two services. So it's, I guess in a way, it's almost like nickel and diming, because you could say, hey, let's do posting and let's do, adding a photo, for instance. I don't know. That could be, or adding video, that could be a service or something. It's interesting to see, that concept. I think that, it gives you customization, which I think is nice. But like you said, it does kind of trend toward that whole inbox zero thing as well. But another tool to consider, if you're a business and you work with a lot of different accounts, something to think about. But that's going to bring us to the end of the show, right? Right, Phil? Or do we have any other topics?
Yeah, no, that's it, man. That's it. We should mention, again, Ross's new podcast, Brand on Broadcasting, just launched. So you want to check that out. We talked about IGTV tonight. Ross goes deeper with Brian Kramer on that topic for the first episode, which is fantastic. Congratulations, Ross.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So where else should people pick you up, man? If we know that, anywhere in the live stream universe, if people are searching for Ross Brand, they're going to get awesome. But where else would you like them to specifically find you, man? You got a website or Twitter or LinkedIn? What do you like?
Livestreamuniverse.com. Of course, the Livestream Universe Facebook page is where I live stream most of the time. And I have an Alexa flash briefing if you're looking to get news on live streaming and updates on what shows are coming up. You can subscribe to that, livestreamuniverse.com/Alexa, livestreamuniverse.com/Alexa. Apologize if I just set off a bunch of devices, but that I do that 5 days a week. It's only about a minute to 2 minutes. So in that time, you can capture what's going on in the world of live streaming.
Wow. Nice. That's awesome, man. That's really good. Yeah, you put up great content, Ross. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. It's always great to be on with you. And wow, the hour flew by. But thank you so much for having me.
Heck yeah.
Thanks so much. And by the way, Phil, who do we have next week?
Oh, boy. Is it Lisa or Mark? I can't remember.
I think it's Lisa.
Lisa Demi, holy crap. If you want to check somebody out, she's hilarious. She's got this Small Magic is her brand. She is awesome. If you check her out on Twitter, she's What Up Dog, WUTUPDOGG, Lisa Demi, lisademi.com. She's super smart. And then I'm going to tease you, the following week is Mark Ensign, and he's the big cheese at Loudmouse. And he is super fun. I had, friends of mine, I invited them on. They're here in Tampa, super smart folks, and they're funny as crap. So you're going to have a good time. I would not be surprised if they're bashing each other in the comments next week and then on the following week, because they're a lot of fun. So Lisa Demi and then Mark Ensign, that's Mark with a C, Ensign like the officer. In Star Trek, ENSIGN, Mark Ensign at Loudmouse. So come back and check us out in the next 2 weeks. We're going to have a lot of fun. And
thanks for tuning in tonight. And by the way, if you want to get the blog post recap, we have a few topics we didn't cover, some updates to Facebook Messenger Kids, some Snapchat updates as well. You can get those by going to socialchefs.com/daily and subscribe to our newsletter. And we'll give you we'll send you all the links when they get published tomorrow. But thank you, Ross, again for tuning in tonight or for being a guest on tonight's show. I really appreciate it. Just for sharing all the insight that you have, definitely around the world of video and live streaming. But thank you so much for joining us, Phil. Been a pleasure as well. We will see you all next week, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.